Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi receives a 21-gun salute welcome in Jeddah. His two-day official visit set to strengthen cooperation across multiple sectors. US Vice President J.D. Vance says US-India can accomplish much more together, and President Trump wants both US and India to grow. Hamas delegation heads to Egypt's Cairo to discuss new ideas for Gaza truce. Israel demands Hamas be disarmed, which the group rejects. And several world leaders to attend Pope Francis' funeral, the pontiff to be buried at Basilica in Rome on Saturday as per his final will. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday landed in Jeddah on a two-day state visit to Saudi Arabia at the invitation of Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman. Prime Minister Modi was welcomed with a ceremonial 21-gun salute on his arrival. Prime Minister Modi was warmly received by Deputy Governor of Makkah, Prince Saud bin Mishal bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, Saudi's Commerce Minister Majid bin Abdullah Al Kasabi, and Mayor of Jeddah, Saleh Ali Al Turki. Earlier, in a special gesture, Royal Saudi Arabia fighter planes escorted Prime Minister Narendra Modi's plane as it entered Saudi airspace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, will co-chair the second leaders' meeting of the India-Saudi Arabia Strategic Partnership Council. Upon arriving at the hotel in Jeddah, the Prime Minister of India was warmly received by the Indian diaspora. Chants of Modi Modi resonated as the Indian diaspora welcomed Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Indian community gave a traditional and vibrant welcome to the Indian Prime Minister. The song "Ae Watan" resonated as Prime Minister witnessed the performances of the diaspora. In an exclusive interview with Arab News, Prime Minister Narendra Modi described the kingdom as a trusted friend and strategic ally, emphasizing how bilateral relations had expanded significantly since the creation of the Strategic Partnership Council in 2019.
Mr. Modi praised Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman's leadership, calling him a strong advocate of India-Saudi Arabia bilateral ties and a visionary who has inspired global admiration through the reforms under Vision 2030. Highlighting shared economic ambitions, Prime Minister Modi noted that trade between the two countries had grown even amid global challenges. India and Saudi Arabia are also working on a bilateral investment treaty. Prime Minister welcomed a deeper integration of Saudi and Indian businesses, particularly in emerging sectors like green hydrogen and technology. India is also exploring joint projects in refineries and petrochemicals. Prime Minister Modi congratulated the kingdom for winning the bids to host World Expo 2030 and FIFA World Cup 2034. He was grateful to the Saudi leadership for the continued assistance provided to Indian nationals who visit Saudi Arabia each year for Umrah and Hajj pilgrimage.
And DD India's Amritpal Singh joins us from Jeddah now. Amrit, this is the first visit by an Indian leader to Jeddah in over 4 decades. Tell us the significance of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Saudi Arabia's commercial hub, Jeddah.
As the Prime Minister Tanvi himself said in the interview that that both are strategic allies and the relationship is deepening. Now he's primarily here for the second meeting of the Strategic Partnership Council. The first meeting took place in Delhi when Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had come. It takes place after every 2 years, so he's here, to participate in that meeting. Of course, the whole gamut of international of the bilateral relations, will be discussed, from trade to investment to defense cooperation to energy security to the regional situation, given that Saudi Arabia is an important or a dominant force in the Islamic world, and here in West Asia, while it's going through turmoil, it does have a great impact. Also because of its geographical location, it sits right next to the Red Sea. On the south is Yemen, on the other side is Egypt, of the Gulf of Aden. The Suez Canal is connected through that, so this is an important region. India and Saudi Arabia, their warmth is growing, the relationship is getting stronger, can play an important role in stabilizing the security of the region. From another international perspective, the Saudis are very instrumental in the peace being or the efforts, at least peace efforts mediated between Russia and Ukraine by the Americans. So I think the notes will be exchanged on that, because both agree, India and Saudi Arabia, on the need for a resolution of the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy. So given all these factors, I think this visit is significant. Tanvi?
Okay, during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, what agreements are expected to be signed between India and Saudi Arabia in the field of energy cooperation specifically?
Several agreements cutting across sectors will be signed. Of course, energy being the mainstay of the relationship. They are the big supplier of your energy needs. The third biggest supplier of your energy needs, crude oil, and crude oil amounts to get about 14% of your energy needs through the crude oil, 18% of LPG. You could scale that up. You're looking at connecting the electricity grids of both countries. The feasibility study is on that. You're also cooperating on renewable energy. But I think, and they've joined the ISA, etc. But I think, on the fossil fuels, on the traditional sources of energy, there could be a significant agreement. Other are trade and investment, B2B agreements on how to facilitate more Saudi investment in India, Indian companies investing in Saudi Arabia, increasing the workforce in Saudi Arabia, the Indian workforce in Saudi Arabia. There's already a 2.7 million strong diaspora, which are primarily, though they are entrepreneurs, doctors, etc., educationists, but primarily about 75 to 80% are the workforce, the blue-collared workforce. So how that can be upscaled, given that MBS or Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, has an ambitious vision 2030. So they want to upscale their infrastructure, and the Indian workforce can play an important role in that. So I think these are the areas in which the two sides will be looking at, signing agreements. But let me tell you, there will be several of them, though they'll only be announced once they're signed. Tanvi.
Thank you very much, Amritpal, for all those updates. Amritpal Singh reporting from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. During his 2-day visit to Saudi Arabia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also visit a dates factory employing Indian workers there. The country is home to roughly 2.7 million Indians. DD India's Amritpal Singh visited the factory in Jeddah and spoke to the workers there.
The 2.7 million strong Indian diaspora living and working here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has the second highest diaspora anywhere in the world. I'm here right now in Jeddah, outside a factory which Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting on Wednesday, when he comes calling on Saudi Arabia on Tuesday and Wednesday for a 2-day visit. The Prime Minister shall be coming here and interacting with the workers in this factory. This is the floor of the processing plant or the factory of dates, which this third generation of Indians whose grandfather migrated here started with trading but later went into farming and production and now employs thousands of workers, not just from India but also from the subcontinent and also from Saudi Arabia, working in various capacities. A general perception is that Saudi society is very restrictive. Women do not have the kind of liberties that are seen in other parts of the world. But what we see here belies that. You see these young girls who are Saudi nationals working in this plant owned by Indian entrepreneurs. In fact, I have with me Lama Hafza, who's herself a Saudi national. She's the marketing manager here. Are the gender roles changing in Saudi Arabia when you started or when you were growing up?
Actually, by government, I'm just going to explain it in a nutshell. Working as a female gives you more points and the government itself. So all the companies are now directing towards like having more females.
I have with me Salman Vasaiwala. He is an entrepreneur here. You or your family generate employment and actually contribute to the economy of Saudi Arabia, don't you?
Correct, definitely. Yeah. Now, a lot has changed in the past 50 years. We've gone from trading into manufacturing, farming, distribution, and also with the new Vision 2030 coming up, Saudi Arabia has improved and is supporting us a lot.
The Prime Minister is coming here, visiting your factory, interacting with the workers. What sort of confidence does it inspire in the Indian diaspora working here?
No, actually, they're very excited. All the workers, they're honored. You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
हमारा देश का पीएम आएगा सर, बहुत खुशी की बात है सर. हमारा कंपनी में देख के जानकारी लेंगे सर, अच्छा लगेगा, बहुत खुशी की बात है सर. हमारा देश का पीएम है, गौरव है सर.
This sentiment that when the Prime Minister of the country comes and interacts with general factory workers, farm workers, ordinary people living outside their country, it inspires. With cameraman Saurabh Bakshi, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Jeddah.
On to other international news of the day. Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed bilateral talks with Ukraine for the first time since the early days of the conflict. And his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky said Kiev was eager to discuss a halt to attacks on civilian targets. Russia and Ukraine have said that they are open to further ceasefires after a 30-hour Easter truce declared by Moscow at the weekend. Each side accused the other of violating it. Putin said fighting had resumed after the Easter ceasefire, which he announced unilaterally on Saturday, and Moscow was open to any peace initiatives and expected the same from Kiev.
The regime is trying to seize the initiative and talk about expanding the time frame and the targets. But we must think about it carefully, assess everything, and look at the results. If you paid attention, I said from the very beginning, when I met with the Chief of the General Staff, that we would see what the experience of the Easter truce would be like. Overall, still, there has been a reduction in activity. We welcome that, and we are ready to look at future.
The funeral of Pope Francis will take place on Saturday at the square in front of St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican announced on Tuesday. The coffin of Pope Francis will then be taken inside the church and from there will be taken to the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome for burial. Pope Francis will become the first pope in more than 100 years to be laid to rest outside the Vatican. Cardinals gathered at the Vatican to discuss about Pope Francis' funeral, which leaders from around the world will attend ahead of a conclave next month to elect a new head of the Roman Catholic Church. World leaders, including US President Donald Trump, his wife Melania Trump, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz will attend the funeral of Pope Francis. Following the death of Pope Francis on Monday, a three-day state mourning is being observed throughout India. 2 days of state mourning begins today, while a day's state mourning will be observed on the day of the funeral. During the period of state mourning, the national flag is being flown at half-mast throughout India on all buildings where the national flag is flown regularly, and there will be no official entertainment. On to West Asia now. A Hamas delegation departed for Cairo to meet Egyptian officials to discuss new ideas aimed at reaching a ceasefire in Gaza. The renewed effort follows Hamas's rejection last week of Israel's latest proposal to secure the release of hostages still held in Gaza. The latest round of discussions come a day after newly appointed U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, urged Hamas to accept a deal that would secure the release of hostages in exchange for the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. In Australia, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's party holds slim lead as voting begins. And Iran's foreign minister to visit China ahead of a third round of nuclear talks between Tehran and Washington. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Early voting began in Australia on Tuesday. Polling stations open to voters who will be enabled to vote on May 3rd general election. According to data from the country's election commission, around half the votes are expected to be cast before the election date. Following the death of Pope Francis, both Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and opposition leader Peter Dutton cancelled campaign events planned for Tuesday. Iran will discuss the US-Iran talks with China during the foreign minister's visit to Beijing, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said on Tuesday. Relations between the two countries can play a constructive role in any development, said Ismail Baghei. He added that fundamental demand in any negotiation is the lifting of illegal and oppressive sanctions. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi will visit China on Tuesday ahead of a third round of nuclear talks between Tehran and Washington.
Our fundamental demand in any negotiation is the lifting of illegal and oppressive sanctions. Lifting of sanctions in a way that has tangible and fully effective results.
US Vice President J.D. Vance, who is currently in India on a 4-day visit, arrived in Jaipur on Tuesday for a day-long trip. Vance addressed a gathering in Jaipur and emphasized the growing importance of US-India relationship. He said US President Donald Trump is committed to fostering closer ties between the two nations with the aim of ensuring mutual growth and prosperity.
Their friends to countries like India is to tell them that they're not allowed to grow. Well, President Trump rejects these failed ideas. He wants America to grow, he wants India to grow, and he wants to build a future with our partners all over the globe. And this is the world that America seeks to create with you. We want to build a bright new world, one that's constantly innovating, one that's helping people to form families, making it easier to build, invest, and trade together in pursuit of common goals.
Earlier, the US Vice President began his day 2 of the India trip with the visiting Jaipur with his wife Usha Vance and 3 children. Vance will be in Jaipur till 24th of April and will visit many historical sites there. On his arrival at the Amer Fort, he was accorded a traditional Rajasthani welcome. He also saw decorated elephants. The female elephants named Pushpa and Chanda led the reception. Foolproof security arrangements are in place for the visit of the US Vice President to Jaipur. On April 23rd, J.D. Vance and his family will visit Agra and see the iconic Taj Mahal, after which he will return to Jaipur and visit the City Palace. On April 24th, he will leave for Washington, D.C. from Jaipur. United States Vice President J.D. Vance, who is on a 4-day visit to India, accompanied by Second Lady Usha Vance and their children, embarked on a cultural visit to Rajasthan's Jaipur on Tuesday. On the occasion, Rajasthan's Deputy Chief Minister Diya Kumari spoke exclusively to DD India's Jessica Taneja. Listen in.
We have with us the Deputy Chief Minister. Thank you for speaking to DD India and taking our time. You've been in a busy schedule. What did you make of the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance's speech just a short while ago?
No, I think it was brilliant. He spoke about the partnership between India and the US and the way our Prime Minister is taking that forward. And of course, it's not going to be long before India is a superpower. And of course, speaking about the effort our Prime Minister is making and the ways to move forward. He was talking about all of that.
It's a long stay in Jaipur. Jaipur being chosen as his visit to India, 2 days in Jaipur. How do you view that?
No, it's really good. I mean, it's really good for everything, for the relationship, for tourism, for the whole partnership. And we're very proud that he's here with the family.
Diya Kumari, thank you for speaking to us. That was the Princess of Jaipur, Diya Kumari, speaking to DD India and telling us about US Vice President J.D. Vance's visit here in India. And 2 of those days he was in Jaipur. His speech just finished a short while ago, but he talked about the India-US ties and the further momentum that both the countries will move ahead with, especially looking at the bilateral trade agreement, which will be finalized before the fall. We're also looking to increase that trade to $500 billion by 2030. This is Jessica Taneja for DD India in Jaipur.
More news from India. At least 12 tourists were injured in a terrorist attack in the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. The incident took place in the Baisaran Valley on Tuesday, where unidentified gunmen opened fire on a group of tourists visiting the area. The injured were evacuated with the help of locals and airlifted by authorities. All have been admitted to Pahalgam Hospital and are stated to be stable. Security forces launched a search operation following reports of the gunfire. The incident comes amid a surge in tourist arrivals in Kashmir ahead of the annual Amarnath Yatra beginning July the 3rd. Shrikant Vemula, an emerging electronic music producer from Mumbai, has been named as one of the top 10 finalists in the prestigious Resonate the EDM Challenge, a flagship competition under the Create in India initiative at the upcoming World Audio Visual and Entertainment Wave Summit 2025. Resonate, the EDM Challenge, organized by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in collaboration with the Indian music industry, aims to spotlight innovation and creativity in electronic dance music, EDM production and live performance. After a rigorous selection process involving hundreds of entries from across the country, Shrikant Vemula's unique sound and artistic vision earned him a place among India's most promising EDM talents.
I would say that I would really blend my music with classical and electronic vibes is what my music represents. I mean, I want to do that together. I want to bring Indian sounds and electronic sounds together and showcase that in front of my audience. I just want to know that they should be knowing that there's a lot more that can be done with music.
Vemula expresses his heartfelt gratitude, describing his selection as a proud moment and a significant milestone in his musical journey.
this is a very big achievement for me, honestly, and I'm really getting to showcase my music as well as my skills also in front of a big audience. So, I mean, what more of a greater thing can this be?
Vemula, who is representing Mumbai, will showcase his skills at the Waves 2025 Grand Finale, scheduled to take place from May 1st to 4th in Mumbai. This event will provide him with a global platform to perform alongside other top-tier artists, reflecting the diversity and dynamism of India's electronic music scene. Shama Mishra's report for DD India. So, Waves Summit will be held in Mumbai from 1st to 4th of May. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.